You're listening to Comic Reflections, episode 228. I'm your host, Nicholas Prom.
And I'm the fake Jeff Barnard. The real Jeff Barnard was shrunk and put in the city of Kandor. Nobody will miss him.
Comic Reflections is brought to you by The Outhouse. You can find our show and other neat content at theouthousers.com. And if you enjoy this program, please subscribe to us on either iTunes or Stitcher.
Okay.
Yes. So.
Superman!
Yay!
I love these.
Oh, aren't they fun?
Mm-hmm.
So, let's open the show with Action Comics number 224, cover dated of September 1958. Cover art penciled by Curt Swan and inked by Stan K. And we have this great image on the cover of Superman sitting in an undersea throne with a crown, using his heat vision to, I don't know, destroy a battleship or a submarine or something.
No, he's saving an American submarine. You can tell it's American because it's got a huge flag on the conning tower.
Oh, right.
And they say, man, I wish Superman would save us. And he's saving them, but he's not telling them they're being saved by Superman.
Well, that's nice. He's not ostentatious.
Well, usually you tell him, but we'll find out later in the story.
Yes. So the story, the Superman story we're going to talk about now is called The Super Merman of the Sea. And, yeah, this was written by Otto Binder, penciled by Curt Swan, and inked by John Giunta.
Okay. First flash panel is really cool.
Did you say flash panel?
Yeah, I did. I couldn't think of it.
You meant to say splash panel.
Yeah,
there we go.
Yeah. It's a wrong superhero, isn't it? All right. Let's see. Is it Jimmy is in a bathysphere and he's looking at Superman being pulled on a chariot with, I think they're dolphin fish, But faster, my finny steeds, time to patrol the seven seas.
Yeah.
Why not just swim at super speed? But, oh well.
Come on, if you got a chariot that is made of a big half clamshell and fish dragging you, that's a cool looking panel.
Yeah, it is.
So, at the Daily Planet.
Yeah. Clark goes on vacation. They don't say why he goes on vacation. Because he's going to stick around, so it's a staycation.
Right.
And while on staycation, he sees a spaceship falling into the sea.
Okay.
And there's two people in there, and it says, he's going to bring him out of the water. And they said, no, we'll die up in the atmosphere.
Oh.
So they're mer people.
From another planet.
Yeah. From the very bad Kevin Costner film, Waterworld.
I had fun with that movie.
Oh,
I watched it when I was a kid.
And there are some good parts.
That was a part of the show where Jeff complains about something needlessly.
Okay. Well, a friend of mine who is an artsy type, she went to see it. She thought it was water ballet, and she
thought it was going to be a water ballet, really?
Movie, yeah.
I don't know
what. I heard you like that movie.
Yeah, because movies like that happen all the time. What?
She was kind of out of this world, and she said, I heard you like this. Who told you that? It was horrible. Yeah. Oh.
I mean, I remember when it came out, saw it on video, liked it. I was a kid, but, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I went to Universal Studios a few times and saw the Waterworld water show they have, mm-hmm. which is awesome.
Oh, okay. All right. So Superman stays with the couple. So it's a man and his daughter. Daughter's pretty good looking.
For a gal with a fin on her back.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if that's their clothes that has the fin or if that's part of their bodies.
Yeah,
it's not specified.
Mm-hmm. So, Superman tears off the name tags of ships that have been sunk and uses the words to make up, I am under sea exile, Superman.
A note so the world will know where he is.
Mm-hmm. So they think, well, maybe it's kryptonite going around the world, so they check, and there's no kryptonite in the atmosphere, so what's going on?
Yeah.
So Jimmy goes down into the bathysphere, which is a really cool thing.
I mean,
he goes down in a space.
Hang on. Perry assigns him to go and check it out.
Right.
That's important.
Okay.
As far as transition goes.
Okay. So he sees that Superman is making a fortress of solitude in the sea.
Wow.
And it says Superman's Fortress of Solitude. Submarines and divers keep out, which I think is funny.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's, he's got a big key to open it, just like the one in the
he's
Antarctic.
got trophies from Atlantis. He's got a super crystallizer that extracts precious elements from the sea. And he's got electronic 7C scanner that tells him how to check on all the Earth's oceans.
Do you notice he's got like a TV screen for each part of the ocean?
Yeah. Yeah, like that'll work. I mean,
it's a huge
yeah.
area to cover.
The smallest sea is massive.
Yeah.
Then he makes this guided missile whale.
It's a robot whale.
Yeah, and it captures fish specimens and brings them there. I'm not sure why he does that. So maybe it's just introducing the whale.
Well, yeah, because that
Okay.
comes up again later.
Mhm. So
Back at the Daily Planet.
yeah, Jimmy tells Perry and Lois about it. So Lois says, "But I hope to marry Superman someday, so he must come back." So she goes down in the bathysphere and sees Superman and the girl, mermaid,
Layla.
Lila, LL.
Yep, so many of them.
Mm-hmm. And that makes her jealous.
And sad. She cries.
Yeah. And he found these huge pearls about the size of a really big beach ball.
Right, and he gives them to Layla or La or Lyra La, whatever the heck her name is.
Lila, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, Layla. As an engagement present.
Mm-hmm. Okay. He's using his chariot again and tells the fish, "Don't spare the fins." All right, so they come back up, and the world government wants, I guess the UN, wants to bring him up wants to talk to him, so they shoot kryptonite at him and torpedoes and all. So,
Wow, that's a good way.
yeah.
No, what?
Why don't you send them a note? Hey, we need to talk to you. And he uses oil, some sunken oil cans and barrels, and makes like the
Like a squid spreads out its ink to,
mhm.
distract his prey or keep him away. He causes an ecological disaster just so people won't find him.
right.
Spills oil. That's horrible.
It's just only one, 50-gallon drum though.
Still, that's really bad.
Yeah, but he probably fixed it up though. So he
Okay.
probably sucked it up and blew it out or something. I don't know. You know what Superman does.
I do.
Yeah, and
I am familiar with Superman as a character.
And they're going to drop some kryptonite depth charges, so he hides into his whale.
Why are they sending things basically to destroy him just to get his attention?
Yeah. I don't know.
But anyway, yeah, he gets back in the robot whale and hides.
Oh, man. So, all right, they finally give up doing that. So he comes back, and Volcor, which is the girl's father, is making some device that's going to melt the polar ice caps and make it into a water world.
Yeah.
And
This Volcor looks kind of like Dr. Zarkov from Flash Gordon.
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
He's got the goatee, so.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Volcor is going to initiate it, and he can't pull the lever because it suddenly got weak.
Right. Why is he weak?
Mm-hmm. And so they doubt Superman is really going to kill everybody on Earth, and he says, I don't care.
Did you explain the part where they had the device that was going to melt the polar ice caps? And
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And so Superman pulls the switch, which is really cool. That kind of shocked me.
Right. But then we see that Superman had a lens that was going to refract or whatever the energy, so it wouldn't really melt the ice caps.
Right. And it makes it into harmless rainbow colors, which is kind of cool.
Okay. And anyway, the Volcor and Layla are getting sick because Superman found out that they were susceptible to salt. and so
Too much salt.
and so he put a lot of salt in concentrating in the water near them, so they would get sick.
And the pearls he gave Lila.
Right, so that instead of just beating them up and sending them away, they wouldn't come back with an army to conquer. He would make them think, oh, if we try to conquer this world, we'll get sick. We can't live here, so they would forget all their plans.
Yeah, which is very clever. I love Lois is so happy. She said,
When Superman comes back.
yeah. Let's see. Luckily, he wasn't really in love with that mermaid hussy.
Oh,
I
man.
love that. This is what I like about DC. They have this not ridiculous, but utterly bizarre premise, and then it's a mystery. Why is Superman or Jimmy or Lois doing this thing? And then they'd explain it, and it's fun.
And there's so much detail and turns and twists in the plot. It has a lot of like, oh yeah, I want to go back. I didn't quite catch that. I go back and read it again.
Yeah.
And the rereading, it just makes you, really get into that world. And I think it's like they practically sell the next issue.
Right. And it's awesome.
Yeah. Anything that, Marvel had a different way of selling issues. It's like lots of punching and drama and soap opera. DC, crazy things, complicated things.
Yeah,
but it works.
Yeah, and it's what makes it work is that it's so square and bizarre at the same time, and that's just something.
Yeah, because the world that Superman, in the Superman family of books, like they live in a world that's so straight and so normal. Oh, but then Superman and all this crazy stuff happens is around.
Yeah.
And it's terrific.
Yeah, it's similar to like movie Airplane, and they have these actors who are serious actors saying these incredibly weird things.
Yeah.
And it makes it funny. And if a comedian had done that, it wouldn't work. And it wouldn't work in a Marvel universe.
Right.
I don't think. So.
You know how the Batman TV show was all camp and silly?
I love that.
What if they had... Because I haven't really seen much of the Adventures of Superman show. But what if they had done like these stories in like that kind of style on television?
That'd be so awesome. It'd
Yeah,
be
but then...
impossible. It'd be impossible now, I don't think, unless it's cartoon.
I know, but wouldn't it be crazy if they did something even like Camp on Purpose now, but did just straight adapted these stories and included Brainiac and Bizarro and Luthor, because Adventures of Superman didn't have those.
Yeah, the famous Tim Burton Superman project was rumored it was going to be Silver Age.
Everything that I've seen about it, that's not at all true.
Really?
Yeah, it's just Mondo Bizarro, a Superman that you would barely recognize.
I don't know.
There's a documentary about it now.
Oh, really? Well, at the time, they were talking about making a Silver Age Superman, so I figured it was the same thing. So, all right.
No, it's the stuff that's out about that movie. It's crazy the stuff they were going to do. So, but anyway, let's talk about our next issue.
The Shrinking Superman.
Well, hang on.
Oh, sorry.
It's Action Comics number 245, cover dated October of 1958. Cover art penciled by Curt Swan and inked by Stan K. And yes, it's the Shrinking Superman on the cover. We've got Superman shrinking, but there's another Superman. So what's going on? Well, we'll find out. In The Shrinking Superman. Written by Otto Binder, penciled by Wayne Boring, and inked by Stan K. I love the Wayne Boring Superman.
I do too, man. Okay, so Superman takes Lois to the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah!
I love her get-up. It's really cute. So,
yeah. Like she's got she's bundled up.
Yeah.
But it's stylish.
Yeah. And it looks like Lappish or something. Lappian? I don't know. Lapland? You never heard of that? They're the ones with the reindeer. So.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so he's showing her around and explains the key. I've never seen the super tool chest.
He has like regular tools, and they're just huge, which doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
You'd think he would have like small futuristic devices that he had invented. Right. But he also has a giant bowling alley
with 100 pins instead of 10.
And he throws like a whole bunch of bowling balls at once.
Is it, or is that just one ball? And yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. It's difficult to really say.
And he built this atomic-powered robot that for a sparring partner. And,
Right.
That's cool. And he takes her to Lois Lane room, and
Which
Lois,
is super creepy and stalkery. Like, here's my shrine to you. Like, ew.
yeah, but after all, you're one of my closest friends. So I don't know. It's his way Superman rolls.
Yeah. He's not from here, so he's different.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So he has a crystal ball, which is really a two-way TV set. So he goes off.
Yeah, he says, "Hey, hang here, while I go take care of a thing, and I'll be back." And you communicate with it.
Okay.
So, of course, she wanders around the fortress and knocks over the bottle
Oh
city
my
of Candor.
gosh, he's worse than Jimmy for causing mayhem.
Now,
Jeez.
she knocks it off its pedestal, and it falls. She sets it back up, but wouldn't that, cause, buildings to get knocked over? Wouldn't it be a terrible catastrophe for the city?
Yeah, you would think so. But Zach Cool, renegade scientist, escapes.
He sneaks out a crack in the bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And then he finds a way to... There's a device in the fortress to embiggen himself.
Mm-hmm.
And
using Ilium-349.
Right. And so anyway, he shaves off his mustache and puts on a Superman costume. And he's a double for Superman.
Yeah, he has a face molding instrument to become Superman's.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
He's got a big button. Superman. Who else would he want to be looking like? There's about 5 choices.
Oh, there's all these devices. That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Why would you have electronic plastic surgery machine?
Oh, I can see that.
Okay. So anyway.
So he dresses up like he gets embiggened. He dresses up like Superman, talks to Lois, and then Superman is in the crystal ball. So there's 2 of them.
So she realizes it's an imposter
Mm-hmm.
or something. And so Superman shows back up at the fortress, and Lois can't tell them apart.
Right.
Well, shouldn't she know that the one that was there and the one that just arrived would be the real Superman?
Oh, because he knocks her out
Oh, that's right.
with Superman's head.
Superman has a statue of himself in his fortress.
Yeah,
Of course.
So he knows what he looks like.
Right, and so, what's the bad guy's name?
Zach Cool.
Zach Cool melts the head off, and it falls off and bonks Lois on the head.
Yeah.
And so
now
when she
doesn't know who-
she comes to, there's 2 Supermen.
But she has a ray in her hand that will shrink him. And so he said, we just caught this guy last month, so describe to me Gunnar Gates. And Superman says, one of them says, I captured a lot of guys. I can't remember what they all look like. So she zaps them.
Yeah. And unfortunately, that was the real Superman. And so she shrinks him, puts him back in the bottle, and then Zach Cool seals up the bottle, like the crack, with heat vision. Which also, wouldn't that roast everyone inside? Like a magnifying glass?
Well, let's say he can be surgically precise with it, although he is not used to that.
Yeah, this guy should not have the precision with the powers, at all. He ought to be very clumsy.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Superman's in Kandor. He is non-super.
Yeah.
So we find out that he flubbed the question on purpose, so that he thinks he can find a way to embiggen himself. The problem is
the long game so he can embiggen everyone else in Kandor later at some time.
well, he didn't want a super fight.
Oh, right, because the super fight would destroy the fortress and maybe Lois would get hurt.
Right, and Kandor.
Right, okay.
So
Man, he really thinks
I know,
big
it's
picture.
pretty clever. All right, so
That's my Superman.
Mm-hmm. So he's worried about the Earth being at the mercy of a super criminal.
Right. But Zach Cool poses as Superman and does Superman things.
Yeah, and he thinks hard about it, and he helps people out, and he's getting idolized, and so
Like, well, this is pretty great.
yeah.
So he says, well, you know what? I'm going to ask Lois to marry me.
All right.
I'm going to steal his gal.
Yep. I sold his name. Why not his gal too?
Yeah. But the thing is, Clark is on vacation still? Oh, that was the other story.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Zach Cool doesn't know about Clark as a thing.
Mhm.
So Lois is like, "Can I know your secret identity now?" Like after they're married.
Yeah.
He's like,
I'll tell you later. Oh, she's getting too nosy. She is.
So he's like, "Well, I better kill her."
Yeah, which is different from Superman.
Yeah.
Superman is patient with all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
So as he plots to kill her, he's going to have her fall off a cliff in their car.
Mm-hmm.
Superman comes back, and he's embiggened, and he swoops in and saves her.
Yeah, and then he let's see, he reduces Zach Cole and
Puts him back in the bottle.
yeah.
And then he says he found a little bit of that, what is it, Ilium-329 or whatever?
Oh, before that,
Oh.
Zach Cole runs and goes into a clothes store and dresses himself up
Yeah.
and tries to hide from Superman, who's after him.
So he puts on a regular suit and glasses. Oh, and he looks just like Clark. And people are like, "Hey, Clark."
Mm-hmm.
And that's how Superman is able to identify him.
Yeah. He puts him down there on a little string with Krypton Police.
After he shrinks him back down.
Okay. So
Superman found some more of the Ilium-349.
okay, here's a question. Lois got her marriage annulled, but was it consummated?
Yeah, you said this in your notes, and I'm gonna say no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But that's interesting. All right. That was a good one, though.
Yes, it was.
I like Lois. She's a great character.
Yeah.
I mean, I like all of them. I like Barry. I like Jimmy. I like Mix and all those.
I don't like Lois in the story we're going to talk about next. But let's talk about the issue. I want to talk about the cover.
Mm-hmm.
This is Superman number 125. Cover dated November of 1958. Cover art penciled by Kurt Swan and inked by Stan K.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, the cover is, it's Superman's new power. What's
Yeah.
going on? Woo!
What is the power? We don't know.
Yeah,
but it's fantastic.
all these bystanders and people don't know. And weird. So it's not the cover, it's not the lead story. It's the cover story, but it's not the lead. So the lead story is called Lois Lane's Super Dream. And this was written by Jerry Coleman with art by Kurt Schaffenberger.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Lois is hurt or something and needs a blood transfusion.
Right. And Superman gets the blood for her, and she thinks that it's from him, but his blood. So alternative super. She's kind of out of it.
Right.
But
and
he
so
really
she
just went to Chicago
and got her blood type. But so she thinks that he broke his skin with his own fingernail and gave her his blood. So she's dreaming about having superpowers.
Yeah. And she gets a red wig on, which is
How did you know it was red?
because she said so.
Oh, did she? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because it's black and white. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, she gets a red wig and
Which is interesting. Could it be because of Lana or because?
ooh, I don't know. But it's also
It's also a comic book which likes color, and red is a good color for hair.
yeah.
And
To make it different, maybe she wears a wig so she can have a secret identity.
she couldn't use blonde because all the Supergirls are blonde.
Right. The real Supergirl hasn't been introduced yet, though. Soon.
We've had a fake one though.
Yeah.
And she was blonde, so we don't want her going to that. I guess I don't know. This is 50 years ago, or whatever.
Well, it's 1958, so math. But anyway,
that's almost, yeah.
Okay, so she becomes Power Girl, and it's interesting because this is many years before the introduction of Power Girl, who is the Earth 2 version of Kara Zor-El, who is Supergirl.
All right. Clark in her dream is injured, and so she gives a blood transfusion to him, and he gets superpowers, but he's all
But he's a super weenie.
yeah, amazingly so, and he's flying, and he puts on a lights with a big battery, so no one will run into him.
And she's like, duh, you... What does she say to him?
Let's see, how stupid can you get? Your super hearing will warn you off of planes.
So he doesn't need to have a signal device for planes to see him.
Yeah, he's wearing his glasses, and he put on a mustache for him.
Yeah.
So they won't think he's Clark Kent. Uh, let's see. So he's oh man, there's a rocket coming, so he jumps into the ground to hide, and Lois sees us, gets real mad, and
She's like, "You're invulnerable. This isn't gonna hurt you." And then she throws a big rock at him, breaks it over him, and he's fine. Then there's an excursion boat shaped like a Mother Hubbard shoe or whatever.
Yeah.
Out on a lake sinking, and so he says, "Okay, I'm going to fly into the Amazon and squeeze rubber out of rubber trees and create a giant flotation device to."
Right. Mm-hmm. And
by the time he gets back, Lois, as Power Girl, says, "You dope! You could just evaporate the lake with your X-ray vision."
Oh, can you just lift it up or something like that, or
Yeah,
fix it, or something like that? And well, these are pretty cool things, though. But how do you be a superhero? How do you use your superpowers? And how, what's the clever way of doing it? And I love this.
Right.
It's really nice. And Mike Clark is such a goof. It's really so. Like Clark, okay, a baseball is heading towards a new house window. So Superman,
not Superman.
Power Man, comes and grabs it, but knocks into the house and destroys the whole house.
Right.
So and then he's got to make money, so he becomes a super dishwasher. And Lois says, "Why don't you go into the middle of the ocean and get some treasure?" I said, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. Duh.
Yeah. And he goes into a place to hide, so he can switch from Clark to Power Man. And it's a
store having two-way mirrors.
So.
Oh, which is funny. So his identity is exposed in the dream.
Yeah.
And then she wakes up and she's like, "Yeah, you make a lousy Superman, Clark."
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Her subconscious does not think Clark is Superman.
And yet, so many times she thinks, "Wait, Clark is Superman."
Right. So she really doesn't think that, or something, or I don't know.
It just depends on the story. It's like whatever way the wind's blowing that day, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So our first of two backup stories is called Clark Kent's College Days. It was written by Jerry Coleman, with art by Al Plastino.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So Superboy goes to college.
Right. And we see him graduating from high school. He looks really like Superman. He looks like
right.
But he said, "Oh, hopefully I'll make a man out of you, Clark, because our shyest boy." And this is kind of insulting. And he goes and he's wearing this old beanie cap, which is ridiculous.
Because they're freshmen, and then the upperclassmen are into hazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's not having. He can't compete in sports.
Yeah, he starts to get on the rowing team, but accidentally breaks the oars.
Yeah. There's a car on fire on the street. So what do I do to save the car? But my roommates are in here, so he blows the light switch down, and then he disappears.
He flies out and saves the car.
Yeah.
So anyway, there is a science professor,
Maxwell.
Yeah, who demonstrates a robot that he invented.
Mm-hmm. And the robot's about to blow up because Superman's using his X-ray vision to see, it's about to explode. So
it's powered by steam, and the steam has burst a hole in it, a crack in it, and Superman uses his X-ray vision to seal it up.
And Maxwell notices the fix as it's going on.
Right.
So he knows Superboy is in the room.
Yeah. And so, I'm going to discover who Superboy is.
So he does a lie detector test on everybody except for Clark, who is not.
Because they ran out of time. The bell rang.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't remember bells ringing when I was in college.
No. They may have at that time, but who knows?
Yeah. Anyway. Different schools have different things, so.
Or it's a comic book. So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember?
I forgot.
Yeah, and Superboy is getting distracted because he almost hits an airplane. So they have a fake leaning tower pizza, which is hilarious. So they're going to do Galileo's dropping of two different weights and see if they hit the ground first. So,
at the same time.
At the same time.
Yeah.
But one of them's got a bomb in it, a small bomb.
Right.
So if it's if Superman uses X-ray vision, this little small, it's like a firecracker,
Sure.
will go off and prove that he is
Superboy.
Superboy, yeah.
So Maxwell's like, well, I've never failed in an experiment yet, so I've got to keep doing. It's like, wait a second, what scientist hasn't failed in an experiment? It's all trial and error. It's
Right.
mostly failure.
Yeah, 99%. And,
So like,
and if it's not, there's not. Maybe he means he's trying to say he's never failed to discover something or.
okay,
In a series of experiments, maybe.
okay,
So, Superboy's having all kinds of trouble. Like is he he goes see a football game, and he absentmindedly jumps high and says, "Oh crap!" So he makes a bunch of smoke and grabs some balloons and flies with these balloons.
right. And then the professor thinks, oh, he was just floating on the balloons, which it takes a lot of balloons to hold a person's weight and to carry them off.
Yeah. There's a girl here who looks a lot like Lois. But
It's probably not though.
probably not.
Popular hairstyle, that's all.
Yeah. And Maxwell's checking him out. It's pretty cool. So Maxwell gets some kryptonite.
Yeah.
And they go into a cave. And he
Opens the lead case.
Yeah, and
And it's
Superman but Superman knows what's going to happen, so he sticks his fingers in the wall
And
he
releases some gas that's in the cave.
Yeah,
And it makes people kind of sleepy, and so he gets them out. But Professor Maxwell's like, it weakens you, doesn't it, Clark? I know you're Superboy. But he can't prove it.
right.
Because of the gas, and then everybody gets rescued by Superboy.
And so Superboy, flies the school bus, and so Maxwell wakes up and says, "Where's Clark?" Oh, he's still asleep on the bus. So Clark Kent finally gets the lie detector, and, well, Clark Kent, are you Superboy? I am not. No, Professor Maxwell, I am not Superboy.
And he proves he's not lying, so what's up?
Because he thinks of himself as Superman.
Yep.
I thought that was really well done.
Yeah.
It was just really cool. Yeah, and also there's no fighting here. It's a battle of wits. It's got an important. Maxwell should not know who Superman is or Superboy is, but Maxwell's not going to use anything. He just wants to know for knowledge's sake.
Right. Because he's a professor. He's a seeker of knowledge. But it's very good, and this is Mort Weisinger's kind of thing. He didn't want every story to be the world's strongest man against the world's second strongest man all the time. There are stories where it's like that, but they're kind of sparse.
Which is fine.
It's fine. I could do with a few more of them, and we'll talk about some. Superman's a bit light on the rogues gallery end, although I like his villains that he has. So, but anyway, let's talk about this next story. This was the cover story. It's called Superman's New Power, written by Jerry Coleman, penciled by Wayne Boring, and inked by Stan Kay.
Okay. Superman is we see Superman using his new power, but what is it? So we find out that there's an earthquake hitting Metropolis. Superman goes to solve it. He's fixing it up, and he finds an
alien spacecraft.
Yeah, and he touches it, and it blows up, and he loses his powers.
Yeah, but then he realizes he hits a car, and it's got gangsters in it anyway.
Right.
I don't know how we established that, but it was a getaway car.
Yeah.
So anyway, then he's able to just demonstrate his new power, and we don't know what it is yet, but it stops him cold.
Yeah. Oh, he's about to be hit by them. So they're gangsters because they're trying to kill Superman. And they said, well, at least we're going to destroy a car, but maybe we'll get Superman.
Now he's still invulnerable,
right?
But he can't do any of the other stuff that he does normally.
Yeah. Okay, so it's still a mystery what the superpower is, which is kind of cool. But we find out that the power is to make little dolls of himself, and
Or miniature versions of Superman come out of his hands, and they do the super feats. They have all the superpowers that he would normally have, which is weird.
yeah, it is.
This story, people harp on this story a lot as
Really?
people who are anti-Superman.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's Superman where he's had the miniature versions of himself shoot out of his hands. That's so weird. It's stupid. But it's one 8-page story from 1958. Like,
Yeah.
that's no... It's people who don't really understand there's all these goofball stories
Right. And
that are all one-offs like this, so...
yeah. Yeah, it's not the greatest. I was kind of disappointed when I read this, what the
really?
superpower was. But
It's so weird, though.
yeah, but it's kind of interesting what happens.
He gets jealous of himself. These other selves.
Because it's kind of fun beating up bad guys and saving people, but you're literally just pressing a button and it happens elsewhere.
Yeah, somebody else does it. So Superman's proxies outwit Hold Up Man or things like that. And
yeah,
it's weird. Like little doll versions of Superman go and do all the work, and he isn't doing. So he's plotting to get rid of them to try and gain his powers back.
Yeah, and then someone is trying to rob a guy on the street with a brick. The little Superman goes and unravels his sweater and ties him up with it. Superman didn't tell him to do that. The little guy figured it out himself, which worries Superman.
Because once they're out of his body, they operate autonomously. He can release them, and then when the job's done, they go back, but
he's been telling them what to do. This is the first time it does. He's not telling them what to do.
Right. So he's got have a way to overcome this.
All right. So they some bad guys got some kryptonite, and they use a catapult and throw the kryptonite on top of him. His doll, or his mini-me, grabs the kryptonite and goes off into the ocean with it, sacrificing himself. This cures Superman, so now he's got his powers back. But then he doesn't know if they were sentient. Now, what were they and all that? And he said, I guess I'll never know. And it's kind of sad, because they did a good job, and... yeah. But, that's pretty dang neat.
Yeah. What did you think overall of these Dispatch of Superman stories?
That was my least. I understand why they didn't make that. The last three we read, this was the one I would not put on the cover. But I guess they couldn't do the Power Girl thing because people are looking for Superman.
Right.
And the other one with him going to college, that would be interesting to me.
Well, but don't you think that'd make more sense as a cover story for Superboy, the comic?
Yeah,
you're right. This one of the three makes most sense to make it the cover. Plus, it's a mystery. What is his Superman's new power?
Right, but that's my least favorite story of the batch.
Okay.
Let's see, what else do we have? Lois Lane's Super Dream is pretty cool. Shrinking. Superman.
I like the shrinking Superman. That was good. Yeah. I like that one a lot.
And Superman's Undersea Kingdom was cool.
Yeah.
And Power Girl was neat too. Well, they're all good in their own way. All right, until next week, we'll see you in the funny pages.